Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby, and I recently did a review on the E25, the Tier 7 Premium German tank destroyer, and so it sparked my interest again in the Tier 7 Soviet tank destroyer, the Su-122-44. So I'm going to give you a double dose of gameplay in this video, a couple of rounds that have occurred recently that have been fairly successful, to give you an idea if maybe this is the premium tank for you, or at least revisiting the fact that I have done a full tank review already on the Su-122-44, and giving you a little bit of insight if you haven't seen that video. So we can see that the Su-122-44 is rather nippy. It's got a fairly good horsepower to ton ratio, obviously not comparable to the E25, but it can still shift around, which has allowed us to get into a rather aggressive position on Prokhorovka, in these forward bushes down the extremes of the western part of the map. Now, I recently rethought a couple of things about how I play these tanks. Before I talk about that, let's just highlight that I do have Sixth Sense on this tank, and I'm not getting spotted. I am the one who is spotting those two Tier 7 tanks. And they're pulling back now going, oh my gosh, what's happening? And check out the rate of fire on this 122mm. Now, while we only penetrated half our shots, because this is a fairly long-range engagement, at roughly about 350, 400 meters, probably about nearer 400 there towards the end, we only have 175mm of penetration, which means firing at pretty well-armored Tier 7 tanks, such as the Panther and the IS-2, or was that an IS, I believe? One of the two, pretty much the same armor profiles, means that we don't have a guaranteed chance to go through them. Now this guy's less than 300 meters away from us, but as he's went behind the bushes, looks like he can't spot us anymore. And check out this rate of fire. We just put 677 damage to him in no time at all, and those were two low rolls, very, very low rolls. Now I'm holding my fire here because, well, I could secure the kill if I wanted, but I was quite worried about getting spotted by that. It was an IS-2. I was quite worried about getting spotted by the IS-2, and so I felt that by firing there, it would risk me getting spotted, and considering there are 3 artillery on the enemy team, and an undisclosed amount of tanks, including a Panther, down this western flank, I thought it'd be better to hold my fire and let one of the other vehicles take the kill. So, now that there's a bit of a break in the combat, and boy, that got off to a quick start, you'll notice that I'm using binoculars and a camo net on this tank. Now this is not an open top tank, so that means that I have foregone using ventilation on this tank. It can use ventilation, but I've chose to not use it to be able to put a camo net as well as binoculars on this vehicle. Now there is an argument to use the vents instead of the binoculars. However, the view range on this tank is rather low. It's very Soviet view range. And if I hadn't had the binoculars, there's no doubt that I wouldn't have been able to spot that IS-2 and the Panther had such long view ranges. Oh, there's an artillery. We fire clutch because we knew that everyone else was going to be able to hit the target first. So unfortunately this tank is very inaccurate. It does have quite a long aim time, and so often if lightly armoured tanks with low health, such as artillery, do get spotted, you just have to hope for luck and fire your shot, because generally the other tanks are going to be able to aim at it quicker and kill it before you can fully aim. So as I was saying, I don't use vents on this tank because I believe that you want to try and get those engagements at those long ranges, as we saw there, to be able to shoot your enemies without them being able to shoot you. Now we have the sight of a Tiger. And just check out this DPM, 391. 413, giving us a total of 804. And we secure the kill. That is a ridiculous rate of fire for a tier 7 tank destroyer. It's pretty much the same as a tier 9 tank destroyer, or at least a tier 9 medium tank. Now we're talking about, sorry, a tier 10 medium tank, such as the STB-1, I believe this, or even the Object 140. And that's a scary amount of DPM. Now you're seeing one of the weaknesses of this tank, and that's that its gun depression is rather poor. I believe it is either 3 or 4 degrees. I think it's 4. That means that even fighting on slight slopes such as this, you simply can't get the gun depression to be able to engage your enemies. And that's kind of a balancing factor on this tank. You can't have it all. You can't have tier 10 medium tank DPM at tier 7 and expect to have the flexibility to be able to consistently put out your shots. So I'm at the forefront here. Looking back on this is a little bit risky. Oh wow, that was a bit of a whiff of a shot. I kind of want to ram the Panther here. I don't quite get it. But I managed to reload so quickly that we were able to put the kill into him. And I digress. I keep jumping left, right, backwards and forwards with my commentary here. But I really want to highlight the fact that I have dropped out vents for camouflage net and binoculars, which hopefully means that we can engage enemies without getting engaged ourselves. So what I'm thinking here is this AMX has 240 alpha damage. I've got 299 health. So he requires 2 more shots to kill me because he's bouncing in my tracks there. Well, not bouncing, but getting absorbed. He still hasn't penetrated me, showing just how good the frontal armor is on this tank at medium to long ranges. But unfortunately, our penetration of 122 has meant that it's been tricky for us to penetrate him as well. Now, when he actually managed to penetrate me at the end there, I decided that it was indeed time to pull back because, well, I really didn't want to die. So most of the shots that bounced on us there were hitting the mantlet, which is quite strong in this tank. If you want to have a full idea of the armor profile of this vehicle, then you do want to check out my full tank review on the SU-122-44. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Let's just take a quick look at the post-game stats. So that game occurred just 2 days ago during a 3x experience event. We managed to get over 6,000 experience for our triple. Now lots of people will buy the SU-122-44 to make money, and really that's the only reason why I would play this tank, because I'd probably rather be playing a tank such as the SU-152 and use that hella derpy 152mm on it, or indeed load the 122 and probably have a better rate of fire. Still, you can't complain when you make 80,000 credits profit with no events in a 7-minute battle. So we managed to pick up the high caliber medal there, doing just under 4,000 damage to the enemy team. You really got to see the accuracy and the penetration characteristics of the SU-122-44, of which both are pretty poor. Our armor did exceedingly well in that game. We took 9 hits and we survived the battle, which is very good for a tier 7 tank destroyer with quite low hit points. One thing that was quite nice is that we did manage to do some assistance damage, 883 damage upon detecting, and 387 upon detracking. So before we jump into another gameplay, I just want to touch on the fact that in 9.1, the camo rating bonus that tank destroyers have after they fire is being nerfed. However, as far as I'm aware, in the last patch note stated that the premium tanks, the premium tank destroyers that is, will not lose this bonus, and that means that the SU-122-44, the E-25 and the AT-15A will become some of the most stealthy tanks for purely opening fire at long ranges in the game. And that really is the sweet spot for the SU-122-44. You want to get your opponents between about 300 to 400 meters, get your camo net activated, hopefully have a good camo crew, and just open fire on your opponent. It's very unlikely, unless you're in a tier 8 or tier 9 game where tanks start to get very decent view range, that you're going to get spotted, which can allow you to put that kind of tier 10 medium tank DPM to work at tier 7. and reap the benefits with fat credits. Anyway, let's move along and take a look at some more gameplay. So, here we go. This time we're playing on Live Oaks. This matchup isn't quite as nice, with just under half the enemy team being Tier 8. Now remember, the SU-122-44 does not get premium matchmaking, and that makes this 122mm with only 175mm of penetration absolutely garbage at engaging most Tier 9 vehicles. Realistically, against Tier 9s, you have to be shooting them in the side or the rear, or be aiming for weak points, which generally isn't an option in the SU-122-44 with its horrific Soviet accuracy. We're looking for the ELC AMX here. Looking for him, looking for him, looking for him, looking for him. Oh. Thank you for... I did remember him doing that. He just... Oh, he stopped in the open. Maybe he got tracked, or maybe he wanted to take a shot at the AMX 12T. Either way, I'm happy to have rolled slightly high there to secure the kill. And it looks like it's 2 for 1 at the supermarket today, as this T21 is wanting to have a piece as well. Ah! 2 scouts for 2. It's half decent. So there we go, just to look at a size comparison there of the Tier 7 German premium tank destroyer and the Tier 7 Soviet premium tank destroyer. We can see that you can't quite be as sneaky as you could in the U-25. So this bush location here is a great position for tank destroyers. Here we can see a VK3601. Aiming, 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 aiming. Shazam. 389 damage. That rate of fire, guys. And we got spotted there. Thankfully, we've got 6th sense, which lets us know that we've been spotted. Oh, there's a Borsig. Ah, man, we got hit by a Tier 8 artillery there. GG to the Tier 8 artillery. And I'm thinking about going up into the bush, but I'm also worried about this Type 58 spotting me. I decide I've had enough of this Type 58. We take his tracks off and put a meaty shot into him. And our team finish him off. I didn't really want to stay up in that bush anymore. It was a good shot by the enemy artillery. And for all I know, the other artillery, as soon as I could have been spotted, could have been pre-aimed there, taking me out rather quickly. So as I mentioned in the last replay, having 840 hit points in a Tier 7 tank is rather unwelcome. And it's only at Tier 7 and Tier 8 that you really, really, really feel that hit point disadvantage. So, what happened here? I thought I want to be aggressive down the flank. And then I thought, oh gosh, where do the enemy tanks camp? This game is not safe, not by a long shot. The enemy tanks will likely be camping here. We already know that a T-29 at some point during the game has been spotted there. So I hesitated, thinking that I'd be flanked in the side. However, now seeing that our team are sort of full engaging, I decided it's time to go. And there's a T-29 in the open. Put a good shot into his upper plate. Now we angle our armor. We are angling our armor in the SU-122-44. I don't believe that he can see our lower plate. He's about here. So what we're doing now... Well, he just missed. But the idea is to angle the armor in the SU-122-44 between the shots. Thankfully, the artillery has missed us. I'm trying to bait a shot. What I do here is go into the sniper zoom to try and bait a shot. We managed to bait a shot. Where did it actually hit us? Let's take a look. Right up into the mantlet. That's probably all he could see there. We absorbed the shot. Now it's time to punish him. Luckily for us, our artillery put in a bit of a good splash before we finished him off there, meaning that he was unable to get another shot into us. And we pick up a double kill there on the Borsig, narrowly missing getting annihilated by the artillery there. This really is a bit of an assault gun. It's a bit of an assault gun. with regards to its rate of fire. And the tanks that you've seen me engaging so far have been soft enough that the penetration really hasn't made a difference. So I'm worried about where the enemy artillery are. We have spotted all 3 of the enemy tanks up north right now, which means that it literally is only the artillery left. So here, the Su-122-44 is making a very quick run towards the north at between 40 and 50 kilometers an hour. And using that speed, we're able to catch that M41 unawares and take him out quickly. One shot is all you need. For most artillery of equal tier, S51's going to get 1 shot. I think we're going to have to shoot the GW Tiger P twice though. So I blind fire there, hoping to hit the Tiger II in the side of the turret. Those 2 tier 8 heavy tanks have actually got a clear run into the base. But we do have a T-28 prototype who's defending, meaning that there's very little chance they're going to be able to effectively engage. So I'm going into the bushes here. Hello! Oh, that was a really bad shot. Did you see how well angled that GW Tiger P's side armor was? That was a terrible shot. Really poor play by me there. So I'm loading an HE round now to try and penetrate the Tiger P and take him out in 1 shot. He has 440 health, meaning it's basically impossible for me to kill him in 1 shot with my AP rounds. Well, no, it's kind of like maybe a 2 out of 10 chance. Luckily for me, he misses. I get his side. Plant 1 right into him. But can you believe it? Our HE ammunition, which has got 465 average damage, only rolls for 438, leaving him on 2 health. Undeterred by the RNG Jesus not rewarding me, I decide to make it after the Tiger II. Chasing him down, and wow, he's got a lot of health left. But we have his backside. There's 1. And the great rate of fire means that even though we've won the game, we take him out. What a fantastic end for the Su-122-44. And only 1-2 damage roll away from getting the Radley Walters medal there. So that was a great game for this tank. We managed to pick up a Reaper medal for killing multiple tanks in a row in an unbroken chain, as well as the high caliber, which is fairly nice in a tier 8 game, a top gun, and a tank sniper, which is really the kind of range that you want to be in the Su-122-44. So we fired 15, of which we hit 14, and 13 of those penetrated, giving us just under 3,500 damage done. We took 2 hits, of which 1 was from the T-29, which we absorbed in the mantle of the tank, and the other was a horrible splash damage from that tier 8 artillery. So just to quickly touch on the credits that we made 95,000 credits base, and 35,000 for some event that was on. So if we ignore the event, we still made roughly 80,000 profit. And those are the financial capabilities of the Su-122-44. It can make a lot of money, and that game only lasted for 7 minutes. It can make it really quickly. So I'm not going to go into the full details of the tank. If you want to know more about this Soviet vehicle, you can find it in the full review that I've done on the tank, and I'll put the link in the description below. All I can say is that I fully recommend it. It's a great tank to make a good amount of money, and it's a tank that really rewards a very experienced Soviet tank destroyer crew. As soon as you have the clutch braking to help you be able to turn your tank, when you have that off-road driving to allow you to motor even off terrain, when you have sixth sense, and especially when you have the camouflage skill on all of your crew, you can dictate the pace and the range of combat. And so it is a very viable option for a player who does have a Soviet tank destroyer crew who's maybe looking to pick up his first or maybe a second premium tank. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider rating it down below. I'd really appreciate it, and it really helps me out. And let me know what you think about the Su-122-44 in the comments. Do you think the fact that it doesn't get premium matchmaking and it's got such bad accuracy and such low penetration make it just too reliant on a good matchup and very frustrating when it doesn't get that good matchup? Or do you think its mobility, its camo rating, and its sheer brutal rate of fire make it an absolute fantastic tank destroyer? Let me know what you think. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.